Okay, everyone, can you hear me? Alright, if you can hear me, can you type 1 in the comment section? Okay, let's do a quick test before we get started. Alright, very good. Okay, sorry, just let me send the link in the group, then we'll get started. Okay, everyone, so let's get started. This is Teacher Bojian from Kangaroo Study. Now, before we start on the questions themselves, let me give you a short introduction of myself. So I've been studying in Singapore since the age of 16, and then I graduated from the National University of Singapore. Now this is my 6 years of teaching primary school Math Olympiad. So previously I've specialized in teaching the higher primary, basically the P4 to P6 students. So now I'm also teaching primary 3 students, mainly focused on the GEP. And then these are some achievements from my students in the past. This is from 2023 and 2024. Now about these competitions, you will also possibly join them when you go to P5 and P6. And I'm going to give greater details in terms of these competitions when we have the seminar next week. Now, first I would like to talk about the content we are going to go through today. So I'm going to give you an overview of the GEP Round 2 Math. And then we'll go through some of the difficult questions in the round 2. Then I will also be talking about the upcoming events in our center after this GP test. So let's talk about the format of the GP Round 2 Math. Now it's very similar to the previous year. Now we have a total of 41 questions. So they split it into the paper 1 and paper 2. Now altogether we got 23 MCQ questions. So the different part from this year to last year is that now we don't have the explanation questions. So this year there's only the MCQ and the short answer questions. So then, how hard was the GEP Round 2 Math? Now everyone, what do you think? If you think the GEP Round 2 test is hard, then you can type 0. If you think it's easy, you can type 1. Okay, so let's do a quick check. If you think it's difficult, you type 0. If you think it's easy, you can type 1. Oh, I'm seeing strawberry and lemons. Okay. Right, so I'm seeing some of the students are typing 1 here. Now, from the feedback we collected from students, some of them say that the questions is quite easy. And then most of the questions, we've learned them in the Kangaroo Study mock test. And some say that these questions are okay, but there is a time management issue because there are many questions and we have to finish all 45 questions, all 41 questions in 95 minutes. So the time might be the challenging part here. Then some also say that this is easier than our mock exam. So about our mock exam, I'd like to do a comparison between the GEP Round 2 questions and our exam. Now, do you still remember this question from the test today? So in our mock exam, we have a very similar questions. If you compare between them, you can see that these are almost exactly the same, except for the numbers here. So this is the grouping method question. And then this question. Now this is a calendar problem. So in this calendar problem, it is asking for the days before. And we also have a similar question. This is also asking for the number of days before. What day of the week is it? Then this question. Have you noticed something funny here? These two figures are exactly the same. This is because the exact same question came out in the GEP Round 2 and it was also in our mock exam. Then next one, we have this question asking for the even numbers and odd numbers. So they give you two symbols. Then we have to decide whether the symbols are odd and even, and one of them can be even and it can also be odd. So we also have this type of questions in our mock paper. And then we have this interval question, which also came out in our mock paper. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting question. So later on, we are also going to discuss this. This is quite interesting. And we have this in the mock paper. You can see it's very similar. Buying the same object here. And then both of them are liking some monies. When they put it together, they are able to buy it. So they're asking for the price of this object here. So you can see that many questions from a mock exam, it came out in the GEP Round 2 text. So today I want to discuss some of the more challenging questions here. Now let's take a look at this one here. It says that Alex is short of $24 to buy the pizza. Ben is short of $3. Now they put their money together, they can buy exactly one pizza with no leftover. So we want to ask for the price of the pizza. So in the question, the things that we can notice is, now amount of money we are not really sure. Alex and Ben. But about the exact amount of money is not given to us. But there's one thing we know for sure is that the price for the pizza is always comparing to the same pizza here. And then Alex need $24, Ben need $3. So we know that the price of the pizza is a constant. So let's get the pizza. So for the same pizza, if it's Alex buying the pizza, we can see that we do not have enough money. Suppose this is the amount of money for Alex. Which is definitely not enough. We need another $24 here. So we need to add $24. Then we can buy one pizza. Now for the same pizza, if it's bought by Ben, this is short of $3. So the price for the pizza is the same. We can draw it. And then short of $3, this part is for Ben. We're gonna need another $3 in order to pay for the pizza. So what's interesting is that now if they put their money together, you put the money for Alex and put money for Ben, right? They can buy the pizza with no leftover. So let's draw another model. This time around with the money for Ben and Alex. So let's check. What can we observe from here? Right, if you compare between these two models, can you see that the part for Ben is the same? Right? So to buy the same pizza, this part, the $3 that Ben need is exactly the amount of money Alex have. So from here, we can know that Alex just have exactly $3. Then if you compare it to the other model, comparing these two, what can we notice? You see that the amount of money for Alex plus $24 equal to the price for one pizza. Then here is also the amount of money for Alex plus the amount of money for Ben. Also give us one pizza. So the A part is the same. If we ignore the A part, then we know that this 24 and B is also the same. Right, so the key concept here is that when you solve the question, because the total part is the same, total is the price for one pizza, then we can always ignore the common part. Right? When you compare these two, you can ignore the B, ignore the B. Then you only look at the part that are different, so the A equal to 3. Then you compare the first model to the third model, you can see the A part is the same, so if you ignore the A, then you know that the B and 24 are the same. So now just one more step, let's get price for the pizza. This will be 3 plus 24. Okay, so it's $27. Okay. So when solving the questions, we can see that here you can just ignore the same part. Only look at the part that are different when drawing the models. Ignore the same. Sorry, let me get the eraser. Same part. Because the total is the same. If we know the same part, then you just look at whatever is different, then we can find the value. Okay, that's for the first question we want to talk about. Then let's look at the second question. This one says that figure A has a perimeter of 34. We want to find the breadth of figure A. So what happens here is that you got the figure A and you folded the figure. From each corner, you folded the triangle, so it becomes the second figure, the figure B here. So I like to ask everyone this question. Now, is this part, the figure B, look at this middle part, is it a square? So if you think this is a square, you can type 1. If you think it's not a square, you can type 2. Okay. So in the comment section, if you think it's a square, you type 1. If it's not a square, you type 2. So let's do a quick check. Okay, so this one here actually is not a square. This we must be very careful here. Although it looks like a square, but no part in the question indicate that this is a square. Okay, so the middle part we cannot just take it as a square. But what we can do is that the first figure, in order to get figure 2, right? Let's draw it. So this is after you fold it, you get this triangle, and on the other side, if we fold it, we'll get the other triangle. So the things that we can notice is that this part, the two triangles are exactly the same. Now, the triangle, when you fold it, it comes to here. So we can actually see that this must be a square. So this side, after you fold it, it goes to here. Okay. So suppose this part is 1 unit. This is also 1 unit. Now for the other side, after we fold it, it goes to here. So suppose that this is 1 unit. Now, because here, this one, the opposite ones are the same. So this is a 1U. So before you fold it, it must also be the same. This is also 1U. Okay. So basically, like this part is a square. So on the opposite side, we are doing the same thing here. Right? When we fold the triangle, this part is 1U. After you fold it, it's also 1U. And then you look at the opposite side of this figure, they must be the same. So this is a 1U. And then before you fold it, it's also a 1U. Then we know that the part between them is 5. This part is 5 cm. Right, they're asking for the breadth of figure A, so let's check. Now we already know the length and the breadth of the big rectangle. So let's write it down. The length of the big rectangle, this is 1u plus 5 plus 1u. So the length of the big rectangle, the figure A, is 2u plus 5. And then about the breadth of the rectangle. Right, the breadth of the rectangle is just 1 unit. So we look at the perimeter. Perimeter is the length plus the breadth, then times 2. So the breadth plus the length will give us 3 units plus 5. And then we times 2. Right. So we can get the perimeter. This will be a total of 2 times 3, this is 6u plus 10. That's the perimeter of the figure. Then according to the question, this equals to 34. So now we can check. 34. So first we can do 6u will be the total perimeter minus 10. Because after you plus 10, this is the 34, the perimeter of the figure. So we find that 6 units is 24, then to find 1u, just simply divide by 6. So 1 unit is 4. So 1 unit is just exactly the breadth of the figure A, so our answer is just 4. Okay, the 4 cm for one side. So for the figure 2, this folding question, now the things we need to take note is that the triangle before you folded and the triangle after you folded, they must be identical to each other. They are exactly the same. And then from there you can figure out that the two sides are equal. And then make use of the rectangle. You know all 4 sides are equal, so it must be a small square. So on 2 sides we got a small square. So we know that all the lengths are equal here. That's for the second question. Then let's move on to question 3. Now there is a pattern with the first 6 numbers and the last 2 numbers given. You want to find the 20th number here. So looking at these numbers, well, we must find the pattern. Now you see that the numbers 40, 39, 41, 38, 42, 37, it keeps on changing. Sometimes it becomes bigger, sometimes it becomes smaller. So whenever this is the case, it will indicate that this might not be just one pattern. So we might see the mixture of 2 patterns here. So what we can do is you look at the numbers. And you'll notice that some of them are increasing. You see, we got 40, 41, then 41, 42. So everyone, what should be the next number? This pattern is plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. So the next number, it will be 43. Okay. Number keeps on increasing. Then for the other pattern, the number is 39, 38, 38, 37. So what will be the next number, everyone? We notice that now there's minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. So the next number will be 36. Number keeps on getting smaller. So in fact, this is a mixture of 2 patterns, and they want to find the 20th number. So what we can do is that every group, it will be 2 numbers, 40, 39. This is the first number of each pattern. And then 41, 38, these are the second number of each pattern. Then 42, 37, the third number of the 2 patterns. So let's check. How many groups are there? Since one group is 2 numbers, then we will get 20 divided by 2. First we get there are 10 groups. Now 10 groups with no remainder. So this means that it must exactly end on the second number of the group. This means that we are looking at the second number of each group. So let's get another color. Okay. Second number of each group, 39, 38, 37. So let's get this pattern here. 39, 38, 37. Number keeps on becoming smaller. This is a decreasing pattern. So it's -1, -1. Now from the first number to the second number, -1, second to the third, -1. So if it's from the first number all the way to the 10th number, that's the first, second, and the third of the group. So if it's the 10th number of the group, from the first to the 9th, to the 10th, right, there is an interval of 9. So there are 9 intervals here. Right, there's 10 minus 1, there are 9 gaps. We say 9 intervals. So 9 intervals means that altogether we need to minus 9 here. So this missing number will be 39 minus 9. The 20th number will be 30. That's for the question 3. So in this question, first thing that we have to notice, there are 2 patterns given in the question. One of them is increasing, one of them is decreasing. So it's a mixture of 2 patterns. So we can group the same term in each pattern together. The first number in each pattern, second number in each pattern, and the third number in each pattern. This way we get groups of 2, groups of 2. So 20 divided by 2, we find there are 10 groups, which means it will be the 10th number in the decreasing pattern. So from the first number to the 10th number, there are 9 intervals. So this means that we need to minus 1 9 times. From there, we can find the answer. Just for the third question. So now, let's take a look at the next one. Question 4. Now, at first, Alex has twice as many sweets as Bob. After Bob gave Alex 6 sweets, Alex has 5 times as many sweets as Bob. And how many sweets do they have altogether? Now, this is a very interesting question, because they give us 2 different multiples. At first is twice. Then later on is 5 times. So the question we need to consider is, which one should we start first? Now I know that some of you might start with 2 times. So the problem with starting with 2 times is that first when you draw it, and then Alex gives 6. So this part minus 6, the other one plus 6. Then we notice that it's very hard to draw the 5 times in the new model. So what we should do is that we should start from the 5 times. Let's see what's going to happen if you start from the 5 times. So for Alex and Ben, if you're looking at the number in the end, so what we are going to get is, this is 5 times of the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's not enough. Let's add 1 more. Alex, 5 times as many as Ben. Then now this is a number in the end. Okay, this is a final number. But for the number at first, this is after Bob gave Alex 6 sweets. So if we are working backwards, this means that Alex must return the 6 sweets back to Bob. So Alex returns 6 sweets back to Bob. Then at first, Alex is 2 times as many as Ben. So the question we want to consider here is, how much should Alex return? So the number left for Alex is 2 times of Ben. So let's think. Right now there are 5 bars, 5 units. There's 1 bar, 1 unit. So we are going to realize that if we return one of the bars here, if we return 1, we remove this, return it back to Ben, plus use a dotted line here. Okay, if we return it back to Ben. So now Alex is 4 units, Ben is 2 units. This means that at first this is twice the number. So the amount that we return is exactly 1 unit, which equals to 6. Okay, according to the question, 6 sweets. Okay. So by doing the working backwards, we draw the 5 times first. Alex is 5 times of Bob. Then from there we can see the 5U and 1U. So this after Bob gave Alex 6. So at first we must use let Alex return 6 sweets back to Bob, which is 1 unit return to Bob. So Bob gets 2U, Alex got 4U. So we can find that 1 unit is just 6. So we can write it down. At first, Alex is 4 units. Bob is 2 units. Then in the end, Alex is 5 units and Ben is 1 unit. So basically we move 1 unit from Alex to Bob. So this 1 unit is 6, and they want to find how many sweets do they have altogether, so the total is the same. 6U, 6U. Right, we can also think, why is the total the same? Right, this is because that exchanges only happen between Alex and Bob. Right? Alex plus 6, then Bob minus 6, the total will not change. So we get the total. The total is 6 units. This will be 6 times 6. So we get the final answer, 36 sweets altogether. This is for question 4. Alright, so then let's take a look at question 5. Now this one says a basket of 9 oranges costs $13. A basket of 8 apples costs $6. So let's underline it first. Keep it a good habit. 1 basket, 9 oranges, $13. The other one is 1 basket, 8 apples, $6. So every basket of oranges Sally buys, she also buys another 3 baskets of apples. Then she spent $35 more for the apples. They're asking for the number of oranges. So let's think. Do we know about the number of oranges here? Right? If you think that we know about the number of oranges, right, you can type 1. If not, you can type 0. Right? So it seems like, right, we do not know about the number of oranges. That's not given to us. Now, how about the number of apples? Then we realize that we also do not know how many baskets of apples are there. The total number of baskets is not given. So the only thing we know is that every basket of oranges there are 3 baskets of apples. So let's take a look for the orange and the apples. One basket of oranges, that will be, this is given, that's $13. Now for every basket of oranges, we are going to have not just 1 basket of apples, it will be 3 baskets of apples. So we are going to have 3 of them. Each of them will be $6. $6 for 1 basket. $6, $6. So let's observe what happens here. If there's only 1 basket of orange and then 3 baskets of apples, the thing we can notice is that this is a total of $18. 6 times 3. $18. And then for the oranges, this is only $13. So we can see that right now this difference is not enough. It's only a difference of $5. Then let's think. Now, if we get another basket of oranges, let's get a different color, another basket of oranges, another $13. So in return, we will get another 3 baskets of apples. 6, then $6, $6. Altogether, this is another $18. So right now we can see there's another $5 more spent for the apples. So what we can do is that since this number is always the same, you see the first group, 1 orange, 3 apples, difference is 5. Second group, 1 basket of oranges, 3 baskets of apples, the difference is also $5. So altogether this difference is 35. So the total difference is $35 more for the apples. Since every one group, we can call it one set, the difference is 5. So to find the number of sets, we just use the total difference, 35, divided by the individual difference. This way we can find there are 7 sets in total. So this is the grouping method. When we do the grouping, right, the things we have to check is according to the multiple relations given. So in this question, right, the number is 3 times. Number of baskets for the apples, 3 times the number of baskets for the oranges. So we just group it according to this multiple. Every 1 orange, then there are 3 baskets of apples. So we find out 7 sets, but that's not done. They are asking for the number of oranges. So one of the common mistakes is that students might just do 7 times 13. Oh, we find the total amount of money spent for the oranges. That would be wrong. Because here is finding the number of oranges. So what we should do is that we should use 7 times 9. One set is 9 oranges, so this is 63 oranges in total. Okay. This is for question 5. Right, then let's move on to the next question. Question 6. So this one is asking, which row is the number 114 in? All right, let's think. Now, one of the solutions I've seen in students is that they do 111 or 114 divided by 4. Since there are 4 numbers in each row, let me do 114 divided by 4. So is that correct, everyone? Everything is correct. You can type 1. Everything is wrong, you can type 2. Should we use 114 divided by 4 to find the number of rows here? Right, so we are going to notice that this is not correct, right? Because we are only given the even numbers here. Only the even numbers are given to us. Right? We don't have any odd numbers here. So actually, it's not 114 numbers in total. We have to find the number of terms. So since every 2 numbers, we'll get an even number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of the 114 numbers, only half of them are even. So divide by 2. then we can find that this will be 57 even numbers. Yeah, sure. Okay, so later on there will be replace, so no worries. Right, so that we got 57 even numbers, then the next thing we can notice is that every row we have 4 numbers. First row is 4 numbers, second row 4 numbers. So each of the row is 4 numbers. According to this, we can find the number of rows divided by 4. So then we find there are 14 rows with a remainder of 1. So where is the remainder 1, everyone? Let's think. Definitely this remainder 1 is not on row 14. It must be a number that's on the next row. So this will be 14 plus 1. This number is on the 15th row. Now, of course, this one is only asking for the number of rows, so it will be 15. So let's do this question one step further. Now I'm going to label these columns. I call it column A, column B, column C, and then column D. Let me erase this part. Column A, B, C, D. So I'm going to ask, which column is the number 114 in? Let's think. Which column is the number in? Now we are not asking for the rows. We are asking for the vertical columns. So one thing we'll notice is that the pattern for the row is not always the same. Right, you see that for row 1, the smallest number is on the left. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. But for the next row, row 2, it goes the other way around. 10, 12, 14, 16. Then the next row is also from smallest to the biggest. And then is from the biggest to the smallest. So the number just keep on going back and forth. Right? It goes back and forth. So from the A to D, then D back to A, then is column A to D, then D back to A. So we notice that those with the same pattern, it depends on whether it's an even number or odd number. If you look at all the odd numbers, it will go in the same direction. Right. The row with odd numbers is always from the smallest to the biggest. So now if we add in this additional conclusion here, right, since it's remainder 1, so it must be the first number in the next row. So for row 15, the first number, it will be in column A. Okay, this is when we do the question one step further. If it's not only asking for the rows, we are also able to find the column. Now, of course, you have to look for the pattern carefully here. It's for the question 6. Okay. So these are some of the more difficult questions in the paper. Now, of course, we don't have time to go through every single question here. So I'm just going to show you the answer for the others. Okay, this one, divided by 3 and 4, so when divided by 10, the quotient is 3. So I noticed that some of the paper have this question, some do not have. So there are 2 different sets of papers. So it depends on which one you are holding on to. You may get different questions. Of course, this one is the key is to make use of LCM. So I give you a hint. When you go back, you can try. Make use of the LCM of 3 and 4. Then it will be quite easy to solve. Okay, that's for the question here. This one, the answer is 36. Right, the next one is a pattern question. So I noticed that this year there are many pattern questions. It's looking for the difference between the biggest number and smallest number. So I can give you a hint. Look for each group. Right, this difference just keep on becoming bigger and bigger. 2, 4, so the next one will be 6, 8. right, when you check for the difference. So from there, we'll be able to find the answer. This will be figure 11. Then this one, Mary has $8. How many different combos are there? We must choose one from each category. Now just take note that we do not have to spend all $8. No need to spend all $8. So it can be $8 or it can be less than 8. Okay, so this question we got 8 different combinations. The method we use is just a listing. Okay, you list it systematically. So you check blueberry, then you check what are the toppings and fruit. Then you check strawberry, what can be the toppings and fruit. Okay, always list down from top to the bottom. Then this will be a total of 8 weeks. Then the next question. This one about same amount of water, so 200 ml poured from A to B. And then this is another question on the sum, difference, and multiple. So just make use of the model to help you. The final number, this is very similar to one of the questions we did just now. The half means A is half of B, so B must be 2 times of A. Okay, draw the model, then you work it backwards, then you can get the difference. Okay, this is 350. Then this question, so what fraction of the figure is shaded? This will be 5 out of 12. It's actually just doing some shifting of the figures. You can shift this part here, and then you can shift this part here. Okay, and then of course you can just cut the figure. Cut it into 12 equal segments, and then this will be 5 of them. Okay. Just cut the figure. Cut it into 12 regions. Then you check how many are selected. You select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 5 out of the 12 triangles. So there is 5 out of 12. Right, this is a question that's exactly the same as the one we have. So the key is to use the LCM when doing the grouping. The LCM of the length of stickers, which will be 6. So every 6 cm will be one group. Okay, the answer is 54. And then this is the interval question. So the interval question, just take note. Number of intervals. It will be the number of atoms minus 1. Because the interval is only between the atoms. Right? So this is the number of atoms, 50 minus 1. Okay, 49 intervals. And then from there, you can find the length of the row. Every interval is 20. So it's 49 times 20 to get the answer. Okay, quite straightforward. Just take note that number of intervals is number of atoms minus 1. Right, this one we have to do a bit of guess and check. You want to get 39 directly, $39 in total. So we are going to check like this $7 plus $3, $10. So this one you cannot group them together. And then next, when you get another $3, it will be 13. So this will be for one group. All right, if you want to get into 39. Okay. So if you want to make this total into 39, so what's going to happen is that you have to get 3 groups here. Okay, so this final answer is 6. You do a bit of guess and check to get the correct number. And then now this one is very similar. It's a grouping method. You can go back and try. Similar to the question we discussed earlier on. The one with the orange and the apples. So this one is 2 times the number. Okay. 2 times of the number. 2 times as many 20 cents as 50 cents. So every 2 20 cents and 50 cents is one group. Okay, from the grouping we can get an answer. This is a 2. And interval question again. So I'm going to leave it to you. So I suspect most likely there's two different versions of the paper. Right? They have this different versions of the interval question. So again, the intervals is the number of atoms minus 1. Do take note. Then this one, this is a grouping again. So according to the number, okay, you can go back and try. The answer is 32. And then today is Monday, find the day 152 days ago. Alright, just need to take note that you got to divide by 7 for the date question. After that, you check for the remainders. Okay, this will be a Wednesday. And then this one is a queuing question. So actually there are two possible arrangements. You just need to answer one of them. Okay, just follow the conditions given. Then, this question is the odd number and even number. So the thing to know is that from the odd into the even, so from there you can already decide that this triangle, it must be, you think that the front part is the same. Circle plus the triangle. So whatever is either change it from an odd number into an even number, so this thing must be odd. Because odd plus odd becomes even. So the triangle is odd. Then this circle, actually we can just decide the value from here. Right? The circle plus the triangle is odd. And from there we know that the circle is even. Okay, and then you just look at the options. It will be option B. That's correct. So then this question, this is drawing the model again. So the sum, difference, and multiple. Okay, make use of the half, then you can find the answer. What fraction of the figure is shaded? Now this one is a little bit special, but since we've gone through this in our mock paper, so that's why I didn't select this question to discuss here. Okay. So the key is that if you want to find the shader, what you can do is that you can use the total minus the unshaded. Okay. Sometimes it's different to find the shader directly. So what we can do is that you use the total area minus the unshaded, then to get the shader. Okay. The unshaded, those triangles are much easier to find, so you can go back and try. This is 7 out of 18. Now, of course, this one we also discussed before, the area and the perimeter. So just now we choose the other question. Right? You label the one side of them with the units. So there's 1 unit, 1 unit. So the other side of the square will be 2u. And then you just transfer everything to the other figure in order to check. Okay? This one you can go back and try. The answer will be 64. And then this one actually is quite easy. Just find the sum of the remaining 2 cards. And from there, one is bigger than the other. So you can figure out that this answer will be 6. So this type we also seen before. When it's about the fractions, make sure you get the same denominator. Get the same denominator before you do the comparison. So the final answer will be 6. So there's one more thing you have to take note. They stand for different numbers. So there's one solution that both of them equal to 2. So that solution cannot be used because here they are asking for the different numbers. Right, so those are about the question we have collected from students. Now, judging from this question, I've noticed that most of the question is actually not that difficult. Many of them we've gone through in the mock exam. So I would say that since they are only selecting 10% from the students who are taking round 2, so the passing mark would not be very low. I would say that it will be 35 and above, then you'll be quite safe in order to pass the round 2 math. Now, of course, it must be a consideration of all the subjects here. They will consider your score for English and GA1 and GA2. So they will consider everything together, so it's not only about the math, but considering the math, I think it will be more than 35. Then for the results, it will be released in early November, and then the school will post the official results by the end of November. They will send you the letter, then you can decide whether you want to take the offer or not. So these are about the GEP learnings. Now, after this, you might be wondering, what can we do next? The GP is over, but our learning hasn't stopped. So, in 25th of October, I'm going to give you a guidance seminar on what we should do for P4 Math Olympiad, what's going to come out, and how we should learn them better. So this seminar will be conducted in English, and at the end of the seminar, all of you will receive these two books here. So these are the competitions that our students is going to participate when they go to P5 and P6. So these two books, you can use them to prepare for the competitions. So other than this, another event we'll prepare is the exploration class selection test. Now this will happen on 1st of November from 10 to 11:30. So for the exploration class, let me give you a bit of explanation here. So our classes are separated into different levels. We got the cultivation class, then we have enhancement class, the innovation class. Above them, the hardest class is the exploration class. Now, this one, the content that's being taught to the student will be the most challenging. So that's why we have a separate selection test for students who are going into this class. So students in this class, most likely they are preparing for the Math Olympiad competitions in P5 and P6. So that they will be aiming for the gold and platinum awards. Okay, so this will happen now, 1st of November. So I would recommend everyone, if you're interested, you can try out for the exam. So during the same time, we are also going to give a seminar that's sent by our principal, Teachers Hall. So he will talk about what exploration class is going to cover and what are about the Math Olympiad trainings in the higher primary levels. So that will be all for today. You can add me on WeChat or WhatsApp if you're not sure about any questions here, and then we can discuss them further. Okay, so we'll leave it on this page for a while. Right. Anything you're not sure, you can check with me directly. Okay, you are welcome. Okay, so later I'm going to upload this video replay for the onto our YouTube channel as well. So if you miss out on any question, you can refer to it again. Okay, welcome, Jesse. Bye, Jenny. Okay, so I'm going to end it here for now. Then if you got anything, right, you can add me on WeChat and WhatsApp, and we can discuss together. Oh yeah, you got some suggestions? Yes, Jesse, please tell me.